And we're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Whatever day that is. What's this? Must be series 10 or 9.
Isn't
What?
Episode.
All right.
Episode
Is it?
10.
Never.
Episode 9 or something. I've no idea. Anyway, male panic
That's
tonight.
that's amazing, considering that the first time we did this, it was in the depths of winter, and it was piled up to the rafters with snow here, and it was freezing cold. And here we are. It's still freezing cold, but never mind.
Well, we've already got a good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Well, it's I'm just about to say I had a real disaster because I thought I'd lost my bottle open.
All right.
So,
what are you drinking then, Eric?
Well, I suddenly had a bit of another male panic. I've had a couple of male panics, and the male panic this time was I went to the fridge and the fridge was bare. It was bareness. There was no beer in it whatsoever. So I had to rush up to the
What,
van.
bare as in like naked? You mean?
Well, as in, there was no beer. So I had to go rush up to the local garage to get some speckled hen.
Well, all I can say, Eric, is you wouldn't survive up here because there's no point in trying to go to the local garage around here, as you know. You're looking at like an 80-mile round trip if you wanted to buy some extra beers.
Well, I've got mile
So
and a half.
You've got to be organised here. Got to be organised.
Well,
Do you organise your meals 6 months in advance?
Come on.
what have you got? What have you got there? Ian?
That is. On a minute. I'll get it in front of the camera. Oops, it's not going well. It's like some sort of crappy arcade game that I'm getting wrong. Oh, fuck, I'm going the wrong way. Wait a minute.
Oh
dear.
Task of putting a bottle in front of a camera and you can't manage it. I mean, come on, what's going on?
Oh, there we go. Right, got it. Well, there's a bit of a delay as well, so that's making it even more difficult.
let me put your camera bigger. There you go. How's that? Does that help?
Right, there you go. I'm trying to hold it steady.
Dry. I've got dry. Dry.
Wait a minute.
Dry neck.
Dry neck.
Good.
Yes, there you go. Now I haven't had this before. This is a new one for me, but it's a Witchwood beer, so the same bunch that make Hobgoblin, so it should be pretty good, I reckon. Oh, there's Andy. Evening, Andy.
Andy bought it, and he's changed his. He's got his little picture on his little avatar thing.
Anyway, can I just let you know, gentlemen, tonight.
What the boy?
Tonight we are coming to you. That's the audience I'm talking to now, not just you guys. We're coming to you via a mobile broadband signal. I've got a mobile broadband contract and I'm trying it, but the signal goes there because I am the techie geek, but the signal goes up and down. So let me know if we're getting delay or we're getting buffering. That's buffering that, or if it's any better, because the upload speed's like, I mean, it's like wah, but the download
Like a ninja. Like a ninja.
Yeah.
Well, I'm told by the technical department here that the delay is about 10 seconds. So at this stage in proceedings, oh, hang on. I'm told it's miles better than it has been. So whatever you've done, Eric, well done.
Miles better, right? Okay. In that case, I'm going to connect with the audience. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, smash that bell, and give us a huge thumbs up. If you're on DLive, don't forget to follow.
Very good. Well done.
Did you like that?
Very professional, Eric. Yes.
In a proper Dubry Firkin aerial, so I get a better signal. Because the problem is, on a Saturday night, there's nobody using the mobile phone masts, but during the day, what can I say?
Ah, indeed. What can you say? So, how did the trailers go today?
Well, go on, Grim. Tell them what you did with the trailer. Oh no, it's not going good. Say again.
I bought a. Well, the last trailer that we acquired, I bought a. They don't come with ramps. Well, the very ramp that I wanted, the local guys from the company that I won't mention wanted an awful lot of money, so I went for a second better option. Well, not quite as better option, and it's a bit short, so we've had a little bit of a tit about it there, but we got the job done. We made the decision to go and buy another one, so that's what we've done. But Eric's been doing a bit on the internet, and I've been doing a bit on the internet, and I think the weather's because it's improving. As the phone's been ringing, but we're still getting people from down south phoning up saying, "Can we rent a trailer?" And they're in Poole in Dorset or Kent or whatever. I'm like, well, yeah, if you want, you know what I mean.
That's because generally people are a bit what they call what's the technical term? A bit thick. You can't call people thick because that's rude, but calling somebody just a bit thick, I think, is a more pleasant sort of. It's kind of halfway there, isn't it? You know, because calling people thick would be rude. What do you reckon, Ian? What's your take on thickness?
Well, Graham and I were discussing this actually last night, and the fact is, as I believe I may have mentioned before, that that IQ is down, and IQ peaked round about 1870, and has steadily been going down ever since. And it would appear that that it's likely to continue doing so. So we are indeed becoming more stupid. In fact, there are a lot of physicists that suggest that we're never going to make it back to the moon because we're not actually smart enough to do it anymore. Which is, I mean, we've got more intelligent computers, obviously, but the actual human beings, the actual engineers behind it, they just haven't got the right stuff anymore. So there you go. And we can get a sort of rough measure of because obviously back in 1870 we didn't have IQ tests, but you can get a rough measure of how smart people. Well, in fact, it's quite an accurate measure actually of how smart people were then by looking at it in terms of the number of inventions that were made per capita, as it were. Mm-hmm. And there was just a hell of a lot more of them than there are now. So we are indeed declining, and that like fits, you know, because if you look back through history, again, as Graham and I were talking about last night, all great civilizations are cyclical, and you know the Greeks and the Romans and the Byzantiums and a lot of them, all their civilizations crumbled in the end, and so you know it would be extremely arrogant of us to assume that ours is any different. So it would seem that we are on the slide, and we probably won't notice a huge difference for the next sort of 100 years or so, but steadily we will be getting more stupid, and we're gradually entering into a new dark age that will probably could last 1,000 years. Darwinian selection starts weeding out the thick people again, and things improve, and it's all down to one thing and one thing only, and that is excessive liberalism. And there's a thought for the evening.
Well, I'm actually somewhat pleased I brought the subject up.
Well, indeed, yeah.
So what we're saying is my philosophy that people are generally getting thicker is based on science. So
Exactly.
Thanks for tuning in to the Grumpy Geordies. We're a specific scientific channel where we occasionally come up with some words of wisdom. Well, me and Graham don't, but the professor does. And
it's what you get. It's what you get when you interfere with harsh Darwinian selection. We haven't got any harsh Darwinian selection anymore, so all the thick people that would have died in the past are surviving now. Just like has always happened, thick people tend to have more children. More intelligent people tend to have less children. So the inescapable conclusion, no matter what anyone might try and tell you, is that we're getting more stupid.
Well, Eric, you better get out there and start putting it about a bit before we leave the mortal coil to keep the brain development up in the gene pool. I mean, I know that
well, indeed,
pickings are a bit scarce where you live, man, aren't they?
Well, that's true. Yes, that's true. But perhaps the time has come for me to start some sort of institution, where young ladies come along to get fertilized with high quality sperm. Yes, you could have something there. I like the sound of it.
So I'm just adjusting a bit here because you're kind of like on one side a bit. There you go. Put you in the middle. So I mean, is your dear wife, is she in favour of you selling your? I mean, you could sell it, couldn't you? Or would you need to be involved in the physical act?
Well, I don't know whether you can these days. I mean, certainly, I don't know about you, Eric, but certainly when I was a student, you could go along to the hospital, as indeed we did, the local hospital, and get paid 20 quid for a sperm donation. But I believe they're not offering that service to students anymore, which is a bit of a shame, because it was useful for getting some beer money on a Friday night, nip down to the hospital, have a quick Thomas tank, and you got. In fact, in those days, 20 quid, as well as your beer money for the night, that would get you a kebab on the way home and possibly a chinky as well.
Provided you didn't object.
Indeed.
She didn't object. But there you go. Well, I mean, that's the discussion. I mean, is anybody out there, the viewers, of which we've got over 4 people watching us right now, is sperm donation? Just put in the comments whether you think the 3 Geordies should offer this as a service, because I think we're kind of quite intelligent fellas, like.
There's another problem now here. There's another problem that we need. Since the days when we were teenagers and you could donate your sperm, because in those days anonymity was guaranteed, and now that is not the case. And women who have received donation are now entitled to trace the father. So I think that that could put a lot of people off. So we need to consider that as well. But if we're if we're going to go into business in this capacity.
We'll have to put that. We'll have to put that to the vote. So, and people out there in the audience, should you think that we should become sperm donors? Put a yeah in the comments, and we'll consider it. I mean, I reckon what we could do is we could all do it in the same pot, stirred around, and you're never quite sure what you're going to get.
Yes, that's definitely a possibility. I mean, it may be that the young ladies, when they arrive, they have a clear idea of which of us they want to have the sperm of. But yes, if there's any doubt in their minds, then I dare say we could do that. Are you suggesting though that we all have to do this at the same time, so that we're like sort of sat around the pot there, all filling it up, simultaneously, as it were?
Well, I think there's an opportunity to. I mean, the temperature, as long as it's kept at a reasonable temperature, because they also they wash it as well, don't they? They wash it and they clean it and they kind of get rid of all the bits they don't need, and they go for the ones that are quite quick swimmers or whatever. So
right.
You've got a bit of a time frame. I mean, you could probably use the same Monkey magazine, if it was left on the bench.
Yeah.
Well,
I think what I'm saying here, Eric, I think is, no offence or anything, but if you're sitting on the other side of the boat to me at the same time doing the same thing, I'm not sure if I could actually manage to deliver the goods there. Like I say, no offence, but
especially with your flat cup on, I mean, that's proper sexy.
Well,
that would turn anybody off.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, but a bit pixelated tonight, Graham. I think me download is not as good as me upload. You look coming across as a bit pixelated. Let me just check.
I can certainly recommend a good delivery service if you need to get these little samples delivered. I've been doing a bit of a rolling census on our local Chinese delivery house, and they are absolutely unbelievable. Because of this tonight, I thought I'm not going to bother cooking and all the rest of it because it will just delay things. So I thought, right, let's just get a quick little takeout. 9 minutes tonight. 9 minutes from putting the phone down to it turning up at the front door.
Very impressive.
Honestly, they're unbelievable. I mean, they say the same thing every time. after you have a bit of crack with the lass that works there. 45 minutes, Graham. Aye. And I know it's not going to be that. And literally 9 minutes. And the guy's at the front door. I mean, it's not like it's not very far away, I'll grant, the actual place itself. But they are an incredibly quick little delivery. And the food's very good as well. But the last time was 11 minutes, and now they've got it down to 9. So, I mean, as I did say to the girl a little while ago, is it possible to have one delivered before you finish ordering it? And she did say, yes, certainly, that's not a problem. That's how good they are.
Well, there's a thought actually that I hadn't considered.
Hang on, I'm watching with stats, and we're going about that. I mean, I'm watching it. I mean, it's something. Generally, it's okay, but we're getting about that.
You're talking about your broadband stats. Your broadband stats.
I mean, it come a couple of your terms, Graham. You look, you that, and then Ian's always a bit like that.
Well, I'm going that way anyway.
We'll have to get some feedback from the audience. Is it streaming better or not? So we're
the technical department here still reckons that it's a lot better.
Oh, well, good evening. Reception seems a bit poor this evening.
Oh, yes, Mr. Allen.
There's little Doc. Come on, little Doc. Come in and have a pint with us. Has he got the secret code?
I sent the link. I sent the link to Alan via email. So if he was to click on that, if I've got it right, let me ask you a question, Eric. On the guest cam live thing that we use, is the nose at the.
Oh,
does that make sense?
We've dropped significantly there. We've gone into red mode. Rolling bandwidth required. Well, we might have to move across to another back to the old internet. We're back up again.
Well, I sent him the link as well, so we should be able to business on it. So hopefully he will.
Right.
Well, if he's listening and he would care to join us, if he just clicked that link, although we'll probably need to sort out our little immediate issue here with the Brody Bandy.
Yeah, it's
so I don't know.
falling over a bit. It's keep dropping way down to 2 meg. Oh, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. That's all I can say. I think we might have to briefly move on to another, back to my old BT one. So it's not.
Is that your wee daughter up to something there? Is she?
No, I'm on a completely different system. System.
Oh, we've had a message from little Doc. He said he'd love to join us, but the link doesn't seem to be working. So Doc, if you're listening here, the link that I emailed to you, that I don't know what Graham sent to you, but certainly the one that I sent to you, that's the one that I use to get on. So it should definitely work.
Yeah.
So give it another go. See what happens.
I'll have to change. What's it though? I'll have to change the names on the thing.
Don't worry, Eric. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Eric, good news. Very exciting. We've got lemons, I'm told, by the technical department.
Have we?
We've got lemons.
Hello, lemons.
Yeah. No idea. We've got some.
Well, those are things that jump off cliffs.
No. If Doc's coming on, I'm changing the names on the audience thing on the guest list. So if he wants to come on, it'll be done in a minute. But we might have to change providers because I'm thinking we're getting.
Do you need to stop this? Do you need to stop this, Eric, and start again?
It would briefly go off from the people that people would see a slight. I think we'll go with it for a bit longer because it seems to record. The problem is it's mobile, so it's like signals. It's like you were talking about, Ian. It's all signals, isn't it?
Well, indeed, yes, signals.
So that signals.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, come on. You carry on. You talk amongst yourselves, gentlemen.
Anyway, yeah. So talking of your takeaway, Gray, that makes me think. We could do. I mean, and I'm sure nobody's ever done this before. We could offer a door-to-door sperm donation service. So
That's not, Ian. That's not a bad idea. I mean, we could.
I think it's a very good idea.
We've got a little white transit van. We could turn up a little white transit van. You could actually do the whole thing in the back of the van.
Not now a van.
Yes, that's really good.
Right. I'm thinking.
Not now a van. It's just had new carpets put in.
Well, obviously, you look after the carpet. I mean, you're dealing a pot. It's not as if you're dealing it on the carpet floor.
Eric, your dog's been dropping something in the back of that van. We don't want to be dropping anything that's even stickier. Sorry, that's
Listen, I reckon I've got a vision here. We could have a little graphic on the side, like I don't know, a little slogan, something like Geordie, in and out, in a dash, bring your kids. It's better than the slash. I don't know. That's just off the top of my head. I mean, I'm sure we can work on it. But I reckon what we'll do is
I'm not sure.
You can have like a little. You can have like the fog in at times. Like a little ice cream van thing playing in the background. I'm not sure
about the bring the kids, Eric. I think that's a bad idea.
Well, no, because okay. How about you put me in the spot here. You see, but I'm thinking what we need is a little theme tune playing like an ice cream van, and then these young females dash out, and we then hand them a hot pot of either E, G, or I, or the whole lot,
or any combination of the three,
combinations. In fact, they could end up having.
And do we supply a turkey baster as well?
A turkey baster? What do you mean a turkey baster?
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Like some kind of insemination
had one of those
little... What are you talking about?
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, not everyone's got one at home, have they? So they might need something that they can use. And I think if it takes off as well, I think we could use it to start our own line of cheese. What do you think?
Well, I'm reading the comments
obviously,
here. Mr. Borthwick saying
the cheese would last longer.
We've got 4 watching. We've got 5 watching according to this. And Mr. Borthwick
Eric,
saying we're taking this crap. I'll connect with Andrew. I'll connect with Andy. I'm using a brand new mobile broadband, and I'm watching the stats. It's not good. It's not good. Going up and down. So the problem is living in little villages and the back beyond. So anyway, going back to this idea, I think it's a good idea. I'm quite happy to put a little logo, and I think what we need, a little logo could be a P&I with a flat cap on top.
Well, indeed, yes.
Right. And
I like the idea of a range of dairy products with it as well.
It would actually look quite good if you had 3 P&I with 3 flat caps. It would almost look like some kind of crest, on the side of the van.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
In a circle logo, right? I think it has to be a circle with 3 P&I flat caps with just something like squirt in a dash. 3 blokes in a flash. Hey, I think I've got it now. Right?
I can see it now on the cheese counter in Tesco's.
You need to find the guy that came up with the advertising slogan, which was I saw on the back of a van. Well, it wasn't physical. Somebody sent me it via the FE Facebook thing. But the guy, it was a very, very good advert.
Bad idea. We're getting feedback saying it's a bad idea. I'm liking it.
White van, guy's a floor layer, right? He calls himself Lino Richie.
Oh, I like it.
And underneath it had, is it me, your working floor? I thought that was really good.
Very good.
Lino Richie, is it me, your working floor?
Yeah, love it. So going with this idea, we need a bit of feedback.
I'm just going there.
I reckon I knock up a little logo with these 3 P&I flat caps, circle logo, a bit like the Grumpy Geordies, and we just need a slogan. We just need a bit of a slogan. I think it's like, where you bugger, man, have it in a flash, Geordies on the lash. No, that doesn't work, does it?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that the word bugger ought to be anywhere on the product.
That might dispel with the idea that we're very highly intelligent Geordies.
Well,
I
exactly.
mean,
Yes.
just say
Right.
it. Well, just say it. Bugger as in where you bugger, not bugger as in rear entry.
Yeah. But like, that's all very well if you live in Newcastle, but you know, for people down south, they can get the wrong end of the stick, can't they? I mean, it's like me up here when I started to build my stone wall, you know, and I was told that up here it was called diking. I mean, you know, if I was to go build and go and do some diking down south, then I would have got myself in a bit of trouble. So you're too careful with the regional variations in the UK.
The same applies in America,
Anyway,
Ian. You know, when I was out in the States, it's not a very good thing to say, even if you might like a little bit of a smoke out of a pub or restaurant. It's not a good idea to ask anybody if they'd like a fag.
No.
Or would you like a fag? Because obviously fag has a different terminology and meaning over there.
We've just
Well,
had,
indeed,
a
yes.
special code broadcasted by your mate Doc on D.
Oh, fantastic! He's made it.
No, he's broadcasted the code. He hasn't made the code. He's broadcast it live to everybody and sundry. I'll have to change the code after this show. You meant.
Well, how's he?
I mean, you know.
How's he done that?
He's put it in the chat.
Well, there's only 4 of them. What, Eric? There's only 4 watching. Let's get them all on.
My broadband couldn't handle that, man. Like, if you're watching, Doc, what you do is you go to internet. I'll talk.
You go to an internet browser, put in that code.
Hang on, Eric. Stop. Wait, you're using technical words. Internet browser, right? Like,
Chrome.
I mean, you know, you
Chrome or Edge or Firefox. That's a browser. That's the thing you browse the internet with, and you put that code in, press return. It'll take your page. You get your camera sorted out. You click in it. I mean, if you can do it, anybody can do it. You know what I mean, Mr. Professor Technophobic,
indeed. Well,
I mean,
tell him as well as all of that.
Do it.
Tell him that as well as that, you've also got to like type your name in the little box when it comes up, and then you have to click on join.
You don't
And
have to
then
type
it'll all
names.
happen.
I'll put the names on the screen separately. I can call you out to like.
Yeah, but you have to type some sort of name in the little box before you click on join, otherwise it won't let you.
Well, I don't know. I've never done it because I'm the host. I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the technical stuff. I make the whole
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
happen. Without me, this just wouldn't occur.
So come on, Doc. You can do it, Doc.
Come on, Doc. Come
I've even
on,
changed. Look, I've even got it ready. Look, I'll show you. There's his space there. Look, it says Doc. And he's
Hey.
not there. But hey,
Hey, Ian.
I'll see if I can find out anything that's happened to him. Give me a minute.
okay. Oh, he's gone off now. It's just me and thee, then, Graham. It's just me and thee, lad. Lad. It's just me and thee, lad.
You know that little thing I put on the web the other night, which was just a little bit of silliness with reference to world-breaking news, with reference to the big boat that's blocked the Suez Canal.
Aye.
Well, they still haven't shifted it. They reckon that. Well, I know it. I wasn't even thinking that something that big could go through the Suez Canal. It's freaking monstrous.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I bet. Well, obviously, this is the case. I bet in some cases, I mean, there is apparently some kind of tidal flow, but I'm sure there's probably inches of clearance underneath these massive ships. I mean, that thing, God only knows how many flipping containers it had on it. But, I mean, they've got thousands and thousands of these boxes on them, haven't they? So the actual tolerances must be very, very slim. But I mean, I don't suppose they're all as big as that, but they're having a real problem with this thing. It's causing massive, massive issues. Billions of dollars in trade, billions.
Billions and billions
Yes,
and
Ian,
billions.
Ian. We're talking about the thing that's blocked the Suez Canal. You're into boats and stuff. Get yourself out there and earn yourself a few quid. Get it
All right.
shifted.
Well, I'll tell you what. Shipping containers floating in the ocean was the bane of my life when I was living on a sailing boat. That was all the way that I thought I would meet my end, because you'd be amazed at the number of them that ships lose over the side, and they float 99% submerged. So if you're sailing along in your little sailing boat and you've got a hull made of wood or fiberglass, and you smack into one of those, you know, 5 or 6 knots. I mean, it might not sound very much, 5 or 6 knots, but it'll punch a hole straight through. Down you go. If I was to sail again, sure at this time, because with a steel boat, you just get a big dent in it, and that's it.
Well, I
Yes,
think we
but,
might move across. I think we might move across to the other service, because this is struggling.
The little dog is doing his best.
Right. Well, okay, there'll be a brief interlude, people, because we're going to move across to the other broadband network. So you guys might have to dial in again. We'll see what happens. Because I've never done this before. We're going to Mach 3. We might have to change the bulb.
Right.
So,
Okay. Right.
Right. Okay. We'll see. We'll look. Here we go. And here we go. We're back. I do apologise, folks, but we had a little bit of a problem with our broadband. Let's see if that's been better. If we move on to broadband stats on the grid. But there you go. You upload. We're putting in a bit more delay there. See, the upload's crap. We're uploading better before, but the download's crap. So it's a choice between upload better. Oh, here we go. Let's just assign Doc to a guest. And let's go to number 4. There you go. Doc, you're
There's
live
the
on
man.
Rugby Joey.
There's the man. Doc, how are you doing?
Oh, you know, not too badly. How are you?
Well, Doc, we're all looking a bit different, as you've probably noticed.
Yes, well, it's well noticeable. Look of age getting on to everybody, you know.
30 years, what? 30 years on.
Aye.
We're
So,
back.
yes.
So
The
thanks for
appliance of
broadcasting,
science.
Mr. Doc, my private
Sorry?
code all over the internet.
What can I say?
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
you know, the idea is to make it private, not to tell the whole world and sundry. So I'll have to change it for next week.
Well, I was just checking to see if it was the correct one because I couldn't get in.
Well, it is the correct code. Obviously, you're here now.
Well,
Anyway,
we know
I'm
that
Eric,
now.
by the way. You know Ian in the little fella at the end.
I do, yes.
But and it's nice to see you now in the middle of the picture, which is great. I don't have to do too much. I mean, the broadband's struggling tonight, mind. There must be a bit of delay. Just ask the back office, seeing if the delays, if we're back on. Oh, I've got no sound for you, Ian. Where's your sound?
Well, anyway, Doc, the grumpy one on the left of your screen is Mr. Eric Yates. We've all collectively been friends for years.
The guest has muted themselves. Ian, you've muted yourself. I don't know why you've done that. Can you unmute yourself, Ian? Whatever you've done, you've muted yourself. Oh, I tell you what it is. I tell you what it is. Anyway, yes, I'm the host of the show. It was just the whole idea to have a show live online, just to you know, just to talk shit really, and that's the idea.
Yeah, well, that's good. I've enjoyed it the last few weeks.
Oh, all right, okay.
Nice to meet the technical wizard when it works.
Well, I'd love a decent broadband signal because we must be generally fighting it. Ian, you've definitely muted yourself. I don't know what you've done, but sort yourself out, lad, will you? Sort yourself out.
Ian, what you might have done is, you know, when you go to the Ecamm Live, it has two options. One is your webcam and one is your microphone. You may want to go and have a look at the microphone.
He looks like he's frozen. He's not doing that. Let's kick him out. Let's kick him out, and we'll start again. Here we go. It's just the same. He's back. Look, he's back. The man's back. Right. Okay.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yes.
Ah, right. Way, Doc, it's lovely to see you. What I was trying to say, Doc, what I was trying to say was that you know that wee sailing trip that we had a few years back. Well, yeah. I remember when you came down for that. I thought it seemed like one hell of a long time since I'd seen you. But it has dawned on me that I think it's actually longer since I've seen you since that last sailing trip that we had, which is unbelievable because it just seems like it was like last year or something, that trip. It's absolutely incredible. Well,
it was a considerable time ago.
I mean, it must have been getting on for 20 years ago.
20 years.
Yes.
Well, would you like to elaborate on this on this sailing trip, gentlemen?
Right, it was, yeah. But anyway.
Sorry. Is he?
Well, we just had we had a little trip from Portsmouth, and we toodled and then we Kruiborg, but I had a bit of a problem with the boat, and we had a bit of a leak, didn't we, Doc? Which was a bit mysterious. And when we got to Cherbourg, we had to get out of the bilges and look for this leak, which we couldn't find. So I had to run it aground on this hard standing, and I had a look underneath there, see if I could spot a leak, and I still couldn't find it. But you'll be pleased to know, Doc, that after you left, I did manage to find what the leak was, and what it was on that particular boat, where the hull and the deck were joined together, there was a flange, and it was through bolted about every 4 inches with stainless bolts all the way round, and there was mastic squeezed in between. And in the bow, on the port side, about a couple of feet after the bow, the mastic had sort of degraded and dropped out. And so every time the bow was dipping down in the wave on the way across the Cherbourg, it was just scooping water up, and it was going down into the cavity in between the hull and the deck there, and finding its way down to the bilges. So that's what it was. So I went to the little chandlers, if I recall correctly, in Cherbourg, and I bought a big tube of mastic, and I squirted it into the hole, and problem was solved. So everything was happy. So anyway, Doc, I think it's more than time that we had another little adventure of that nature. How do you feel about that?
Well, do you still have a vessel we can tootle off to sea in? Other than a seagoing
events have moved rather swiftly since those times, because shortly, as you will probably remember, that boat, I was particularly pleased with that boat, and about another year or so after I saw you, I got it to the peak of efficiency, and I was very, very happy with it, and I thought it was going to be a boat that I would have for many, many years, and then a life-changing event happened, and Rachel dragged me down to the cat and dog shelter in Stubbington, and I came out with this little Alsatian puppy, and I took this little Alsatian puppy that had been returned to the shelter 3 times because the people that had adopted it couldn't cope with this dog because it was mental. So I took this dog down to the boat, and she didn't really like the boat. And within a week, I put the boat up for sale. That was the effect that the dog had on me.
Really?
But not to be thwarted, I then went and bought another boat because what I decided that I needed was a boat with a lifting keel on it, so I could run up the beach, so that she could nip off into the sand dunes on the Isle of Wight and chase rabbits. So that's what I got. But then when we moved up here, I sold that one. So because I didn't have a job when I moved up here, so I didn't know how hard times were going to be. So I don't currently have a sailing boat. Although what I do have, if it appeals to you, since we've been up here, I got into sea kayaking instead. So I've got a spare sea kayak. So if you fancy that, then we're ready to roll, dog.
I'm not too sure about that. It's been a while. I don't know that I'd manage it.
Doc, you can always swing by here and we'll give you one of the motorbikes to go up to see him on. We've got some decent motorbikes, so you can always rip up there, and it's a lovely run on a motorbike.
Yes, well, again, that's something else I haven't tried, so never been that adventurous, I'm afraid.
Oh, you need your
Well,
motorbike.
Anyway, how's things with you, Doc? Is all well with you and your good lady?
Yes, we're fine. We've been in this. We're in a bungalow now. We've been here just about 14, 15 months, and it's not too bad. We've got a bit of work to be done with it, but it's we're getting there.
And are the offspring in good form?
Yeah, Neil's in New Zealand. He's let me think. He's been there about getting on for 10 years now. Got himself a partner and a daughter. And my daughter, his sister's living in Leeds, so she's close to home. So yeah, they're both doing well.
The last time I saw Neil and Gail was when you lived in that wee house in Cramlington, and I remember. In fact, little Graham might have been there on this occasion. I can't remember, but we'd been out on a serious drinking session in Cramlington, and I kipped on your sofa that night, and I remember at the crack of dawn. I think it was Neil came in screaming his head off, and I had this banging hangover on your sofa, and that was the last time I saw him. So clearly things have improved for him.
Well, yes. He's he's what, 38, coming up 39 now. So yeah, he's grown somewhat.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc, I don't suppose by any chance you know anything of Gordon or Jimmy Riddle?
I don't. I was going to ask you about Gordon, actually, because I thought if anybody would stay in touch, it would be you. Because I'd already left.
The last time I saw Gordon. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think the last time I saw Gordon was at my wedding, and then, of course, straight after that, pretty much, I moved down south. So, and you know, with it being like pre-internet days, then I didn't have the opportunity to keep in touch with him. I would imagine. I mean, I'd be amazed if Gordon. I mean, let's face it. He was, you know, even at the time, even when he was in his 40s, he was arguably dead anyway, wasn't he? I mean, you know, his brain was still functioning, but the body, I think, had with all the fags and booze, had long ago given up the ghost.
Well, he was smoking full strength Capstan and drinking Nuki Brown on a very regular basis. So I'm surprised. He's either very well pickled or he's long expired. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the smell of him?
Sorry?
He's probably the kind of guy that's still cracking on. You know, some people are like that. They just abuse themselves for years and years.
Do you remember the smell of him when he used
to be a week old age?
Yes, he was.
Well,
he was
you're right
certainly a
there. I mean, you've got
character.
some sterling examples like Lem. Oh, he was. He was. I would love to see him again if he was still alive. I would imagine he'd
Yes,
be
so would I.
unrecognisable though, because I mean, you know, he would look absolutely shit if he was still alive. I mean, he looked pretty shit when he was in his 40s, didn't he? But I mean, he did though, didn't he? And do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember when he used to come into work, especially on a Monday morning? Do you remember the smell of him? I mean, you know, it was a combination of like stale booze, fags, and body odor.
Yeah.
How the hell did he become the manager?
No, he was only
He
assistant
wasn't.
manager.
He was the assistant manager. He never wanted to be manager. He much preferred being assistant manager because then he could take the piss out of Riddler all the time.
Which wasn't difficult, let's face it.
Well, indeed. Well, indeed.
Yeah.
Mind, talking of smells, I mean, I know Gordon was pretty pongy, but do you remember that? Riddler's breath? I mean, you could peel paint with his breath.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of him was all right. You know, I mean, he clearly sort of washed and things, which obviously Gordon didn't. But yeah, I mean, there must have been something about his diet or something wrong with him in his digestive system to account for a breath that was as bad as his, because it was always absolutely appalling. I mean, it wasn't just like a thing that happened now and again. It was permanent.
Yes, it's unfortunate some folk do have quite serious halitosis, and yeah, he was a classic.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of that whole
Yeah,
history about the
yeah.
fact that people are getting thicker and smellier then. So it could be a combination too of people thicker and smellier generally across the board.
Yeah,
I'm
Doc,
not
I
sure
have a
about the
question.
smellier thing. I think people are obsessed with it. I mean, I tell you, you know, some of the youngsters I work with in their 20s now, these millennials, they even the blokes, they have 2 showers a day, at least. It's just unnatural. I mean, for us lot that grew up with, you know, 1 bath a week, 2 showers a day. Yeah,
And, well,
I mean,
it was
it's
every
just,
Sunday, whether you need it or not. Bath every Sunday, whether you need it or not. It was once a week. And being the youngest in the
well,
family,
exactly.
I got the water last. I went in last.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
It was hacky-dorty when I got in. Hacky-dorty. After me old man had been in, me mother had been in, me sister, me older brother, me sister, me brother and other brother, and I was the last to go in. And if I was lucky, I could just have a wash down in the scullery in the old porcelain sink. So I didn't have to go in the bathwater after the whole family. You see, these young'uns, they live now they're born. Live now they're born.
They don't.
Well, indeed. In fact, I think this washing too much, this fear of dirt and germs that they've got, is probably why they've bought into this whole COVID thing so massively, isn't it? Because this
it's a
seems to
banned
be
subject,
the
Mr.
demographic
Broad. Banned subject on this
that's
channel.
most terrified.
But I am pleased to say that at least you old folk, right, because I don't class myself as old as you buggers, you old folk, should you want to get a top up, you can get one in October.
Mine's doing.
You can have a top up.
This is the latest, even though they haven't got enough vaccine or whatever. So, it's beyond a joke now.
Well, you've got to obviously the 2 first before you get the top up. But I think I'll just top up on beer.
Anyway, Doug,
Ian, turn around.
The plan is
Ian, turn around
Yes?
and ask Rachel what the name of that, because it's the name I just can't think of it. He's an American comedian, stand-up. He's very, very to the point, and probably upsets a lot of people. But he did a fabulous sketch on germs. I think I actually forwarded it to Rachel, and she knew all about this guy. Just turn around and ask her. American comedian,
Right.
like a bit of a shock job, but a comedian. He did a fantastic
Right, hang on
sketch.
then.
It's on YouTube about germs.
Right. Wait a minute. Did you get that? some American comedian, some shock jock, and that Graham sent to you.
Hey, it's all live, this doc, you know. This is how we roll on this channel.
Oh yeah, she said it was good, fantastic, but she can't remember his name and he's dead. So there you go.
Ah, well, his stuff's not dead. It's still on the internet, and he was looking somewhat aged in his latter videos. But I'll think of the name. But he did a fantastic sketch. I mean, he's very good. He did a fantastic sketch on germs. And when they were kids, they used to swim in the Hudson River, and it was full of all kinds of stuff. But they built up an immunity. You know what I mean? They built up immunity. And he does this brilliant sketch. I'll think of the name for next week. Anyway, continue if you will, gentlemen.
Yeah. So, Doc, the plan is, assuming that it's not made impossible by our wonderful government, that I'm going to come and visit you later on this year. So, is there space to park my camper van at your wee house?
I've got quite a long drive. Depends how big your camper van is, but yes, yeah, not a problem.
Excellent. Right. Okay. I think the last time I came down to your house to visit you was when you were living in Chickenley. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yes.
And Big Graham came and parked his bus in the pub car park next door. Oddly enough,
indeed,
the kids still talk.
I thought you were running the pub.
Most people still talk about Big Graham. Yeah, I mean, I take it I assume I told you this, Doc. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. But you did know he's dead.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Big Graham.
Yeah, was it?
You did.
I think they're talking about
You
you,
sent
Graham.
me,
You're not talking about Graham over there, yeah? Because
No,
seen
I'm
him
a
that's
before.
Little
hologram.
Graham.
I'm a hologram, man.
No,
I'm not really
yeah.
here,
You're not talking about this little fella down here, yeah?
Sorry.
Because he's still very much
That's Little
alive because I
Graham.
saw him today. In fact, he cost me money today. Like, whenever I meet Graham, he cost me money. And today
Yes,
was
I
Well, because you had to buy the coffee.
it was a latte and a bulb, I believe.
Well, you
It's
spilled
not
half
a
of it
bulb,
over
it's
me
a
flipping
filament.
that.
It's a filament. I actually purchased the filament, a stoplight and tail light filament for your van.
What you did?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm
Anyway,
going back
tell
a
you,
little
whenever
more.
Graham mutters these immortal words, I've had this idea, I go, because it normally costs me an awful lot of money when he says that.
Did we make some money today?
We did indeed make a little bit of cash today. Yes, a bit of it was hard work. It was a bit of a slap around, but we made headway. Should we say? Yes, I enjoyed it immensely.
It's not about the money,
this
Eric.
the-
It's just sharing quality time with your buds. That's what it's all about.
All right.
Sharing time.
All right. Morrison's car park and 2 coffees and 2 bulbs. Mind you, I was impressed with paying $1.99 for 2 stop tail light bulbs. So technically, that was 98p each. Were paid for a bulb each. So you kind of go wrong with
You
that.
not get that at Halfords. You not get that at Halfords for £2, I'm telling you.
I told you won't. You won't.
No.
You won't.
I'm sure.
Stop and tail light bulbs.
Did you actually fit these things yourself, Eric?
Well, you'd think that Ford, being I'm going to quote Brian.
No, you didn't.
I'm going to quote Brian May. Everything we do is driven by you. If you remember that slogan. And the thing about
Who?
the rear,
Brian May.
he played the.
No. That wasn't Brian May. That was the other fella.
It was Brian May.
Jimmy Neal?
Brian Adams.
It wasn't
Brian Adams
Brian,
you were thinking of.
Brian Adams. It was Brian May. He did the
Brian
guitar
May is the
playing.
guitarist in Queen.
Yeah, exactly. He did that. He did the guitar playing on the Ford advert everything we do is driven by you.
Nah, Brian Adams.
Right? A small wager. In fact, I'm going to wager you
Google
the
it.
price
Google it.
of 2
Google it.
bulbs from Morrison's, which is a bit of a hike for you. It'll cost you a fortune in fuel. So 2 bulbs at $1.99. Google Brian May. Everything we do, driven by you. He did the guitar playing on that advert.
Eric, come on, you know you're going to lose here because I mean, let's face it, you even got confused about the members of AC/DC, and they're your favourite band.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You got that. That was one. That show was banned because of you. Banned. YouTube.
If you followed my
banned that
instructions
show
and sung it
because-
like I said,
and
we wouldn't have had
because
any problems.
Don't get me started. You said, I'm going to connect with the camera of the audience. Audience, he said, who's your favourite band? And I said, well, who's my favourite band? AC/DC, which forced me to play some. Get my band off YouTube.
No.
All his fault.
But what I said was, Eric, sing it.
Hey?
But you wouldn't. You had to play it. So it was your own fault that you got yourself into
track,
trouble.
I need a backing track. If you're going to sing AC/DC, you need a bit of backing track, don't you? I'm not playing it again. Don't. We're not getting this show banned. We're bandwidth is crap to start with. Let them go into show band. The bandwidth is just off the scale. It's not doing well.
Yeah,
What are you drinking there, Doug?
I'm reduced to John Smith's at the moment.
Oh dear me! Hey, you
All
can't
right.
be back on this show if you're going to be drinking John Smith's. We're real ale guys.
Well, likewise, but it's a temporary blip, I'm afraid.
Mate, having said that,
Yes.
Graham's not told us what he's drinking tonight. Graham's not even mentioned
Uh,
what you drinking tonight, Graham?
Well, I've just been so busy doing everything and all that I just didn't have a chance to get out and get anything funky. So I've just got some crappy cans of Stella or something. I don't know. Was it 1664?
Hey, let the side down again, haven't you?
I know.
Ian, if it wasn't for you and I, this show would go to rack and ruin. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Rack and ruin.
Well, you'll be pleased to know, Doc, that I don't know how long it is since you've been up to Scotland, but there's a reasonable selection of beers that you can get up here these days. I mean, certainly back in the 80s, it was a desert as far as decent beer was concerned. But now it's almost as good as England. There's lots of little micro breweries springing up everywhere, and they're all producing their own little beers, and it's very nice. Although strangely enough, at the moment, whenever you go down to the shops around here, the cheapest real ales to buy at the moment are those from Cornwall. So work that one out for you. There's a consequence of globalism.
Yes, well, I'm not really surprised, I've got to say. Because as soon as you're successful, you're bought out by one of the big conglomerates, aren't you?
Yeah,
We're going to get political. Yeah. Is this politics creeping in here now? Is this a bit of politics? Politics creeping in now. We're talking about globalism. We'll be talking about bloody coronavirus next. And football. We didn't need football on this channel. We didn't need football. We didn't need coronavirus. And we do beer as he cracks open another. And even
talking
this fella
talking of a little bit of
even
politics.
get that on the camera. I mean, how easy that is. You're watching it and watch. Here's a demonstration on how to show a bottle of beer on a camera. That's simple. I'll do it again. I'll do it in slow motion. There you go. You got it.
Right, okay. Give us another go then. Here I go.
You've cracked it.
Better.
You've cracked it.
All right. Yeah, I've got it this time. So yeah, I might make a mistake, but I don't make the same mistake twice.
You've got to learn to point in the right direction, but actually, in fact, I'm pointing away from him to actually point to him. It's a bit bizarre, this camera work. But,
I'll tell you what, after another couple of episodes of this, we're going to be headhunted by Microsoft top technicians. We're just going to know the ins and outs of everything.
Microsoft top tech.
Yeah. We're going to be headhunted by the biggest tech companies in the world. They're just going to say, didn't wear them. Just didn't wear them.
You know,
didn't wear them when it comes to the conference meetings because we look like idiots.
This is like the Yates show, this. Because I'm doing all the technical stuff behind the scenes, you know what I mean? I mean, you guys just come along and talk shite. I've got to do shite and technical. shite.
And you're a
but
bloke,
Eric,
which is very
Eric,
difficult to do
but the
things at
fact
once.
is, Eric, that me and Graham are the reason that all the girls tune in.
You got two
And
viewers.
is there any girls tuned in? I don't know.
There's two viewers at the minute. Just two. I think we
Well,
had three, but
I
he's
mean,
now on the show.
And when
I think-
our door-to-door sperm donation business starts off, then you know I don't want you to be
Did you
disappointed
get that, Big Doc?
when they're not asking for you.
We're quite willing to. I mean, if you've got good stuff, you know,
Tadpoles, yes.
tadpoles, right? We could go for a. We thought about 3 peni, but we could be symmetrical and have 4 peni, each with a flat cap on it. Little circular. I think it's almost like like King Charles's, or what do you call it, Prince Charles's crest. I can see, what do you call him? Oh, feathers.
Not Prince Andrews.
Well, no, I'm thinking Prince Charles because he's got the ostrich feathers. I think that in the background, 4 peni, flat caps, with something like sperm to your door, where I man get the last pregnant. Classic Geordie intelligent sperm delivered.
Does seem like a plan. Yes.
It does, doesn't
But
it?
not-
I mean, I think as long as the missus doesn't
But not
object.
Sorry?
but not mentioning the word bugger at all.
Well, that's quite like where you're
Not mentioning the word bugger at all.
But we'll just make sure it's not a
No,
reference
no,
to
I
rear
really-
end traffic. It's just simply
Yeah,
just
but
simply a
but
fact,
hey,
the
look,
fact
look.
it was in because I reckon if we have a little ice cream van type thing, with a little bit of music playing.
But Eric, stop. Look, you've learned by now from your trailer hire business. You get all these retards ringing up from Poole and London and whatnot, wanting to hire a trailer because they haven't read the instructions properly. So these are the same people that are going to mistake the sign writing on our van. And as soon as they see the word bugger, they'll focus on the word bugger, won't they? And they'll expect the wrong thing. I mean, if that's what you want to deliver, then fine. But personally, I'm not into it.
Happens to that though. Look at the repeat business you'll get
Well,
because
I mean, you could obviously have a specialist niche there that you wanted to fill, if you pardon the pun. But I'll leave that one to you.
But I'm thinking if they say, look, I'd be interested in this your bugger, your sperm, right? And again, look the wrong passage. Then they're going to come back for more because they're going to be a failed attempt, isn't it? So think of it in terms of repeat business. I'm thinking of that. I quite like the idea. I mean, but where they put it, we're not the delivery tool, if you like. We're not actually we're just the simply supply of the.
Well, no, you're not going to be using the delivery tool.
We're just simply.
That's what you're saying.
We're just simply the vessel of delivery. And I think I mean if I put one four in lane, I mean look at what a good looking selection of blokes there. I mean I reckon the whole thing about Geordie's for hire for your next to square. I mean I don't know, something along the line of it's just a little bit of fatigue. But I reckon it's all same pot, mixed up. You're not quite sure what you're gonna get. I think
Free sample with every trailer hire. Free sample with every trailer hire.
I wouldn't pay more than 40 quid a day.
Well, you got to test the market. You know what I mean? See if there's
Well,
any
I think
demand.
we ought to throw in.
Hang on.
We ought to throw in a free turkey baster as well. That's
sorry, I'm going
important.
to stop you there, Ian.
There's your ball,
Between me and Duck, at least we proved ours works.
There's your ball hits, look, customer. There's your
point.
There's your tie down
So
and your
me
number
and
plate
Duck,
on. There's your
we've definitely got stuff that does the job. I've got a couple of good looking kids. You know what I mean? So
You haven't
I
got
think.
one? Oh, you have. Sorry, you've got two, haven't you?
So there you go. You see, at least I mean, at least two of them not firing blanks. So we're talking about good heritage spermage. if it's such a word, where we're doing the job, and we'll just put you two in as a
Yep.
sailor.
And
As
as
a
a
bit on-
twin,
Well,
If we were to find that either mine or Graham's is indeed a non-functional, then obviously we can concentrate on the cheese side of the business.
well, actually, that's a valid point, Ian, because I haven't had children. I mean, do you know if you actually are shooting blanks or not? Can you go and have a quick test and get that done?
Oh yeah, they can test them, but
Oh,
in
yeah.
your case, they won't be to test the intelligence of them.
I mean, I'm sure
In
when
fact-
you're
in
16
fact,
and 17 years old,
I mean, I don't know whether I mean,
when you're 16 and 17, they're better swimmers, if you know what I mean.
I can even do the test at school for you.
Can I just say that I had mine tested within the last sort of like 4, 5, 6 years. It kept going up that, didn't it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years or thereabouts. And my count, because that's what they call it, it's a count. I don't know how they count them. I must have been like 1, 2, 3, oh, that bugger's moved. Or 3, 4. I mean, it must be difficult counting.
No.
'Cause
No, what they do, Eric.
oh, here we go. How are they?
What they do. I've got the kit. I've got the kit to do it at school. So if no, seriously, it's not. Honestly, it's not difficult.
So
All you need
to
all you
count
need
mine for
is-
me?
Well, I can if you want. All you need is a microscope and a hemocytometer. It's this. You know the slides that you put under a microscope.
Oh, I do look
Yeah,
at
when
good
you're mounting a
hemocytometer.
specimen.
Yeah.
You know, which is a little glass slide. Yeah. Well, a hemocytometer is just a fancy slide with a little cavity in it and a grid over the top, with like different scales on the grid, so that you can measure things that are very small. So you just squirt the sperm sample in the hemocytometer, and then you can count them up, and you can also see how far they can wriggle and how fast they can do the wriggling in as well. So yeah, I can do all that for you. In fact, I can even get the kids at school to do it for you. They'd enjoy that. It'd be a nice little project for them.
Right. Well,
how do
I've
you
already, as I say,
check on motility?
I don't think it's is it part of the national?
How do you check on what, Doc?
Motility.
You
Movement.
just watch them down the microscope.
Oh, there's no way to measure that.
Yeah, well, if they're on the hemocytometer, then what you do, once you've counted them, then you time them, how long it takes them to swim from one little square to the next little square, and so on the hemocytometer. And because you know what the scale is on the hemocytometer, then you can work out the speed that they're traveling at. And there's a little table of data that you can then refer to, which tells you how motile your sperm are by how fast they're swimming across the hemocytometer. So you refer to this little graph, and if they're swimming at below a certain rate, then they're no good. Or worse, actually, they're all right if they're a bit slow. That's not a big problem. But what a lot of them tend to do is they just go around in circles rather than going in straight lines. It's like a car with 2 flat tires on one side. It just goes around and around in a circle. So if you've got one like that, then you've got a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
But having said that, you can still make decent cheese out of it.
Are you able to manipulate the data? Because I mean, whilst we can test all everybody, I mean, I'm okay, Doc's okay. Not sure about that fellow over there, and I've got no idea about you, but you can test yourself. But obviously, if we're going to promote this as a going concern, the product, we might have to manipulate the data a bit. So could it be manipulated, where we maybe put a few sprinters in there, bit of sort of what I call them, a bit of like Usain Bolt type figures.
Hey Eric, if you can manipulate anything these days, if you can manipulate an American election, you can manipulate a bit of sperm.
So we're on a winner then. So we need to come up with a slogan. Look at that. I mean, there's a screenshot just there, isn't it? Pick your next offspring from one of these.
All right.
Well,
Graham looking disinterested.
There will be
look
designer.
interested. In fact, let's all look directly at the camera so we can do a screenshot. Ready? Look as if you look at guys. When you work, you have to connect with the camera, and you have to smile more and illuminate more, so that you grow your presence. Ready? Here we go. That's pretty good. Yeah. So we'll just use that as a screenshot on the side of my van. No, don't do that. Looks like
You're going to paint the rusty bits out so it looks proper corporate.
well,
Paint over the rusty bits so it's proper corporate.
well, I think we could do a bit of pouting. Yeah, that's quite a good look because that appeals to the young ones. A bit of dabbing.
Pouting, eh?
I could find some ginger hair, which is kind of Scottish. Bit of ginger hair. You know, that would be very sexy in Scotland, do you think? It's a bit of a ginger wig. Yeah.
Well, maybe
I'll tell you what,
I've still got
all
some
joking
ginger
aside,
beer in shot, do we? We don't want the beer in shot.
all joking aside, it is remarkable the number of people up here that have got ginger hair. But yeah, so you reckon you've still got some ginger ones there, Doc?
Yep. Not many, but still some.
Well, it's a dying breed, you know, Doc.
Yeah,
It's a
I
dying
remember.
breed.
I remember those happy days back at Magnets in Walker when even your beard was ginger.
Mine was
Those are
ginger
days.
when I was a lad.
Yeah, that was a bit bigger as well, wasn't it? It
It
fuller.
was a bit, yeah. I had a long period actually without a beard because after I last saw you down on our little sailing trip, I shaved my beard off. I can't remember why I did it now. Oh yes, I can. It was because we'd been camping somewhere in Scotland, and I got bitten by mosquitoes, and not mosquitoes, midges, all underneath my beard, and it was really itchy. And so I shaved it off, and I had 15 years without a beard, and I only grew it again last summer. So and I was a bit I have to say, because the last time it had grown, it was sort of like, as you probably recall, sort of browny colour, and this time it turned out to. So I wasn't kind of expecting. Suppose I should have been, but it was a bit of a surprise. So are you still doing plumbing, Doc?
Sorry?
Are you still doing any plumbing?
No.
Do you still have your plumbing skills?
Difficult to say. Depends on because I've not had to use those skills. Probably forgotten it all now. It's it was before I started working for Magnet. I've never gone back to it, so never carried on.
Well, I mean, pipes haven't changed, Doc. To be honest, you know, I mean, apart from gun plastic, you know, you just join pipes together, aren't you? Really?
Well, it's more central heating these days.
There's more to it than Eric.
Well, I mean, I've fixed a sink before, you know, where it's leaked, and I've took it apart, and you get all this gunk inside, and you just like put it all back together, and it works.
Oh, the bit, I guess.
You don't need
I do my own. But it's
all you need now anyway is access to YouTube, because YouTube, you can go on YouTube and it'll tell you how to fix anything. It's amazing. You know, like my washing machine came up with an error code 2 weeks ago, and it wouldn't stop. It was in mid-cycle, and it just came up with this error code. Onto YouTube, did such and such washing machine, error code, watch that. And it said, do this, do that, and within 5 minutes it's fixed. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I have to say, Graham, I'm slightly disappointed in you, because as a proper Geordie bloke, you should have no knowledge whatsoever of how a washing machine works.
Well, it's electric. You switch it on, you press wash, and it does its thing.
In Graham's defence, there's a difference between fixing it and using it as an appliance. because blokes can fix
Ah,
it.
yeah, fair point,
See?
fair point.
You see, we can fix it.
No, I
But if
can
you
see
use,
that
I
one,
mean,
yes.
I've stopped ironing for that very reason, because there was one time I was ironing something and the phone rang. So what do? I go, hello? And the scar tissue took ages to go, right? Because I answered the phone. So I said to my missus now, I says, I can't be doing that ironing thing. I can't be doing that ironing thing because if a phone rings, I'll do it again. And she says, well, just turn your phone on. I said, but I said, with technology now, you might be watching a YouTube video, there might be the television on, the radio on, and a phone noise goes, and I go, hello? You see, it's just it's too risky. It's too risky.
Man, Yeti boy. Yeti boy, answer this question honestly. Could you actually iron a shirt to military standards?
What, like the
Eric?
fit in the tank, you mean?
No, I mean,
Well,
could you iron a shirt correctly? Can you do it correctly?
Again, I'm not going to admit this publicly in a forum where other people might watch in real live telly. So we
You're
should
not
have this
starting an
conversation
ironing company.
privately. I mean, I'm going to be
It's-
supposed is to have a secret code and blast it all over the internet. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that kind of thing. Same time as I wouldn't.
Just answer the bloody question, man.
I wouldn't,
Just answer the bloody question.
I wouldn't tell people my skill set. We know that he's struggling with
That's
plumbing.
a no.
I think he just fit a few pipes
That's a
together.
no. Then.
But he's cagey. But I'm saying I could iron anything, but I don't want to admit it
See-
in a public forum. So I'm
You
saying,
see, Doc will be able to do it because he's had a military background, or well, he's been in the Navy. My father was military some years ago, so I was teached the correct way to do it. I was teached it.
the moment you made that statement, you do realise that your sperm rating and attractability just went down significantly in that one moment. And you
Teached
turned
it.
out and
Teached it how to do it.
It's teachable. Straight
It
away,
plummeted.
we've been quoted all night that we're intelligent fellas, right? And you use the term teachable. So I think there's just we're back to 3P now. Flat caps. We'll just take you off the logo for that kind of behaviour. You know. But anyway, beside the point, I am not going to publicly on this channel say whether I can or cannot use name. All I'm saying is the risk is too great, therefore I won't do it. Unless I was actually on a desert island and had no choice but to iron something.
Just fess up. Just fess up. You're pretty good with computers and bloody digital cutters, but you cannot iron a shirt proper than ours. Fess up. Fess up.
I'm saying note. I'm saying note. All I'm saying is the fact
Anyway,
I'll tell you.
my skill set. If it's electrical, I can use it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. If it's electrical, I can fix it. Because I've fixed washing machines too. I've gone on that Tinder web. Yeah, it's me on a keyboard. Because I had an error code on, and it was a bit of Dewberry Firkin stuck in the thingamajig and the overhead underhand fufu valve. Watched it on the washing machine. I fixed it all without even watching the full YouTube video. You know, I mean, I did it almost. I preempted the guy because whenever you watch a YouTube video and on these fix it, they're always like a blog go, hello.
Welcome to my video on how to fix the hot point 3.2.465/487.
And I did that. That's the buffer. And you go, and it goes on for like 50 odd minutes. So what do? You go, you get that screw up or you zip along till you get the bit you want. I'd fix it before the bloke finished the video. So I'm not suggesting I can or cannot iron. That remains to be a secret. I wouldn't blast it all over the internet.
I'll tell you the story of my very first iron. Although I have to say that I'm very good at ironing now. I'm not sure whether I could do it to a military standard, but I take great pride in my shirt ironing. But I can remember back when I was at university, and I'd never handled an iron in my life, and I had a date with a young lady, and I was going to take her out for a meal at this posh hotel in Bangor. And there's not many posh hotels in Bangor. In fact, this one, looking back on it, wasn't even posh either, but it seemed posh at the time. So
That was
I'd
the
got
name of
hold
the
of a
hotel,
shirt.
or is that what you were thinking? That was the
Say
name of
again?
the hotel, or was that what you were thinking? That was the name of the
No,
hotel,
no,
or
no.
that's what you were
Hang
thinking?
on, this deserves.
Well, it was, I believe, the Castle Hotel, if I remember the name correctly. I don't know whether it's still there or not. So, so I'd managed to get hold of a shirt and a tie and a jacket, but I had the problem of ironing this shirt. So, all my mates that I shared the house with, I had a scout around, and between them, they managed to rustle up one iron. But unfortunately, we didn't have an ironing board of any sort. So I thought, well, it can't be that difficult. I'll just iron it on the floor. So, so I put it on the carpet there, and I started ironing the shirt. But unfortunately, it was an acrylic carpet, and the carpet melted and stuck to the back of the shirt. So when I peeled it off, it looked all furry down the back. But fortunately, I was wearing a jacket, so it kind of covered it up. But it was quite hot in the Castle Hotel, and I couldn't take my jacket off because it would expose my furry shirt. So it was a bit of an unpleasant night, really. But I improved since then.
Well, I must admit, in terms of fixing garments, I was renowned for, because I mean, you may or may not know this. I don't know whether you may or may not know this. I started life as a carpet fitter. I used to be a carpet fitter, and back in the days, I had an old pair of jeans that I absolutely adored, riding motorbikes that were covered in bits of oil and patches and so on. And every time they ripped, I'd get a piece of denim cloth, smear it in Copydex, and apply it to said garment. And occasionally back then, used to apply things like, you know, as well as not just denim, bar towels were quite common, you know, in amongst the crotch area. Anyway,
Oh, yeah. I used to do that.
You remember that? We used to put a bar
Yeah, we
towel.
used to take great pride in stealing bar towels and stitching them up to various bits of your clothing.
Exactly.
In fact,
Was me that
I remember
was
that
back in the day.
when I used to, when I used to
Hang on, I'm going to finish
when I
the
used to
story.
race sailing thingies.
Whoa. I've got the count. So anyway, taking through the story, right, there's me. I keep having to shove him Jock because he keeps disappearing off the screen. I keep putting his face back in. Sit in the middle of the camera, Doc. Anyway, so there was me at a rather frayed pair of jeans between the nether region area. And I thought, I'll know what I'll do. I'll just apply the whole beer towel to the whole lovely curtains, Doc. Where the hell are you going now? Dear God, these amateur guests. That means put you back in the middle of the screen again. Anyway, so there's me. I applied a load of Copydex, and I applied to the groin area. This because I thought the best thing to do is to wear the jeans whilst fitting this particular cloth. So I kind of fitted it. I mean, it was snug. Fitted around all the ballroom and the crotch area and the rest of it. And it really kind of made it look quite fetching. This, I think, was a McCune's Best Scotch beer towel. Now the problem back then is, in my younger days, I used to often go commando style, as you do, you know. So I spent a fair bit of time applying this Copydex patch to my jeans, somewhat really getting into the contours, so to speak. So it really did fit terribly snug. And I obviously didn't. I wanted to make sure that it was well and truly stuck, so I allowed it to cure and go off to an extent where I knew fine well that this shape would be maintained once the garments had been removed. And then I came to the evening of removing the garment and found I had great difficulty removing said garment due to the fact that all one's pubescent hair had been attached to the inside of the garment too.
So, where the Brazilian came from.
well, let's put it this way: it was more effective than waxing.
Brazilian.
Point, unlike Ian is not the only person to have a furry inside or outside of a garment. I had a very hairy inside of a pair of jeans, which I did take a razor to trim the hairs on the inside of the garment.
That
So
would
they
make it
wouldn't
right.
tickle.
Wow.
So beat that one in.
Well,
Is Copydex waterproof?
Yeah, it is. It's a latex rubber, isn't it?
Yeah.
Based.
Yeah, it is.
So it is.
All right.
In fact, I used to be a carpet fitter and used to say to people, rubber underlay isn't rubber. It's a lie. It's not rubber. It's made of chalk, latex, and soap flakes. Which is why when you wash a carpet, the latex on the back, the soap flakes turn back to fluff and soap.
All right. Wow. God, the things you learn.
What have you learned on this week's show? Well, we've learned.
gosh, this is the most
Like you can
exciting
order-
TED talk I've ever heard.
We need a website and ordering system for the sperm donations. And we can actually find out that I've used to be a carpet fitter, but plus Copydex. There's no such thing as a rubber underlay there. It's soap flakes, chalk, and latex. Just so you know. And they don't
So
do.
why did you pack in the carpet fitting then, Eric?
Sorry.
Why did you pack in the carpet fitting?
Well, I started life. I wanted to be an art student. Well, I did.
I'm going for a beer.
He's gone. Where's he gone? He gone for a beer. So
I'm going for
I
a
went to
beer.
Gateshead College, as you do. I went to Gateshead College, but first of all, when I left school, I didn't have many of them qualification things. So the me what do I call him? Careers teacher, a guy called Robert Ballantyne. Who's remember his name? Robert Ballantyne, and he says, what you want is doing is one of these YTS schemes because they just changed over from YOP, Youth Opportunity Program, to YTS. You know, YOT or whatever it was, Youth Opportunity Program to Youth and whatever. So I moved on to this YTS scheme, and I was looking behold, it got into a sales into a carpet shop in Bladen, and I found that I had a bit of a gift to the gab of flogging things, carpets. But on a weekend, the carpet fitting was quite a good wheeze because you go and earn money by fitting carpets. And the Spanish City carpet, which was all that big blue carpet with a little gold crest on, I fitted that carpet. One with a few guys.
Wow.
So there you go. My claim to fame, fitting the carpet in Spanish City. And we
Very
taught lots of
impressive.
hundred of carpet. But the thing was, as being a young 16, 17-year-old lad, watching blokes in the 40s and 50s that we are now, with absolutely knackered knees and knackered lungs, breathing all the crap and the dust and the bits of fibres, and actually being wrong your knees all the time with a knee kick. I thought, I don't want to be doing this. So I did about a couple of years carpet fitting, and then went back to university to do a fine art degree. And once I'd been out in the world of work, earning money and drinking beer and Copydex inside me trousers to me ball region, and into motorbikes and various other bits and pieces, I found I couldn't stand art students. I found them pretentious, upty-toity, completely just out of touch individuals. So I lasted the first year and thought, stuff it. I went into using community work instead.
Tell me something. So when you started doing a fine art degree, what was at the time? What was your objective at the end of it?
Good question. I really wanted to get into graphic design in a big way. I wanted to be some like a graphic artist, and instead of just a piss artist, just drinking beer and something. But I wanted to become just doing some form of fine art or graphic art because that was my thing. But then I got into the art of communication, talking to young people and becoming a teacher, and I became an art teacher. So I became an art teacher, an IT teacher, and a PSHE and various other bits and pieces. There are other jobs that people didn't want to do. And that's how I became a teacher. I became an art teacher because I had knowledge of the subject.
You know what? In all the years I've been a teacher, I've never ever met a careers teacher that was anything other than completely useless. Seriously. They all the ones they've almost always been middle-aged women who have never had a proper job in their life before that. Yeah. And they're sitting there, telling these 16, 17-year-olds how to build a career. And they've got no experience of it at all. And there's no I mean, you don't go to university and do a 3-year degree and becoming a careers teacher or something. It's just like it's just like something that you apply for and you just get given this job. As far as I can see, you don't have to have any qualifications whatsoever to do it. And honestly, they are so fucking useless. I mean, a number of times, I've had kids come back from the meetings with the careers teacher, and the kid said, and I say to them, was it any good? And the kid says, it's just completely fucking ridiculous. And I say, well, I sympathise. You're right. They are.
But this guy, Robert Ballantyne, that was his name, Robert Ballantyne. I always remember him. He worked for the career service, and the guy was just an absolute waste of time. I think I want to be an artist. And he went, well, you haven't got the grades, you can't really do that, So what you want to do is, look, we're getting a visitor. Come on, visitor. Come on, we've got a little visitor.
Is this the beast?
It's the wee dog.
We might increase our ratings just by bringing on a puppy dog. Look,
I'll tell you what, Eric, he's grown a bit since last time.
Yes, these people here are other Geordies. No, you need to look at the screen there, the camera. Look. Go for your close. No, your close. No, over there. Not very well trained.
It is getting bigger.
So, Eric, tell me, have you met any attractive young ladies down the dog training class yet?
We've not beaten the dog. I'm doing the dog training. I'm looking to watch.
No, you don't go to the dog training class for the dog training. You go to meet the attractive young ladies.
Hey. Dear dog. Yeah, so we've just increased the ratings by about 50,000 young women now. So now's a good time to promote our sperm business. Now we've got
Indeed.
the attention. Yes, if you want to have an offspring delivered by these gentlemen, we're the guys to trust. We won't get one of these because it's a different variety altogether. So I'm just gonna. Who's let the dog out? Who's let the dogs out?
Well, you say that, Eric, but since mine and Graham's is as yet untested, then you never know. Maybe that's what will come out.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Doc, when I bought my little patch of land up here and started to build my house, I could have done with your plumbing skills because I had to do the whole thing myself because there isn't anyone to do it for you up here. So I had to do all the plumbing, and I have to say there's more to it than meets the eye. And despite watching all the YouTube videos and trying to follow the instructions, I must confess to my shame that I gave up on doing soldering joints in the end, and I went and just put compression joints and everything because I just got like leaks all over the place. I mean, some of them are all right, but there was just too many leaks, and in the end, I just thought bollocks, and I put compression joints on instead. But I did find one lovely piece of kit, which I'm sure when you were a plumber that you must have used, and this is one of my favourite tools of all time. But I treated myself to a pipe bender. You know the pipe benders with the two big handles on it, and you bend them around the little former thing, yeah. I just absolutely love that, and I got quite creative with it, to the extent that I could even take a 3-meter length of pipe, and rather than making joints and things in it, I could put all the bends in it with the pipe bender, so I didn't need any joints. I was that good. In fact, I enjoyed it so much. I even toyed with the idea of making some sort of art installations, with my pipe bender. It was that much fun. Yeah, I didn't stick with it, sadly.
I'm thinking when I'm hear him going about his pipe bending. Right? No, Graham. Hey,
Ian. Creative pipe work.
Yeah.
Look at that.
This
Creative pipe work.
Oh yeah, I like that. Wow, that's classy. That is.
Oi, Graham.
Yeah, I think I could probably do that.
It's even got a little light in it. Look.
Oh.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm thinking Graham.
Man of
Graham.
many talents.
Oi, Graham.
What?
Oh, just get used to
What?
it. I mean, hey, it's work with amateurs. I mean, hey, look, every week I produce the. I mean, I'm weird. I mean, I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, and hopefully we'll get the sperm business going. I won't have to. But what I'm saying here is the fact it's like work with amateurs all the time. We're trying to have a professional show here, and all you're doing is showing your bloody jump by your belly, man. What's going on there? Anyway, I'm thinking that bloke over there.
25 quid.
That bloke over there. No, that one there. Out there. Right, up here. Right. He does pipe bending. And we want a cage
Right.
for a trailer. We need some bits of stuff bending. He's the man.
Ian, if you need
well,
or ever need any tools, if anybody ever needs any tools, I'll tell you a little story.
Here we go.
When I was, my partner Shelley and I, we do cabinets, and we turn old vintage cabinets into modern editions of drink cocktail cabinet kind of things, right? But I had the inspiration to do one which had a bit of a gothic theme. Well, steampunk to be exact. And we all know what steampunk is. And you know that steampunk, if you think about Mad Max the film, steampunk is all little intricate dials and switches and all this kind of stuff. So I was looking for some groovy little bits of apparatus.
Big brass knobs.
To put into this cabinet, which I might add I haven't sold because nobody wants it. But it did take me an awful long time to do this one. But in my efforts to try and find some little clock dials and things like this, there's a little tool shop at the bottom of Shields where I live, and it's run by the two saddest, stinkiest, grisly fellas. One of them's probably got the last part of the last 2 years' meals in his beard. He's the most horrible guy. But anyway, I went to this little shop, and pretty much it's like a junk shop, but they sell old tools. When I was in there, I did find a few little clock pieces, which I actually did incorporate into this cabinet, this steampunk version. But when I was there was a lovely old gentleman came in, and he was kind of hovering around when I was in the shop. And anyway, when I'd negotiated a price on these bits and pieces that I'd found, the gentleman duly came forward and he said, "Excuse me." He was awfully well spoken, very well dressed, and he was probably in his 80s. But he said, "Gentlemen," he said, "let me just spell it out to you." He said, "I'm in my late 80s. He said, "I've been diagnosed, unfortunately, with the big C, and I haven't got very long left." But he said, "I used to be an engineer." And he said, "I have an awful lot of tools." Now, he said, "It would make me turn in my grave if I thought that these things were going to be skipped, because I have quite a collection, being an engineer all my life." Basically, what he said was, and I was overhearing the conversation, "Do you want them? I don't want any money for them, but I'll need somebody to come to my house and collect them." And these two guys made a couple of phone calls, and bear in mind, this is a pretty grungy environment. And they were like, oh no, mate, no, we've got plenty of tools, mate, and not selling it's one of these shops where you can buy an old spanner for 10 pence, and just full of crap, right? And he went, "Oh, well, okay, fair enough, fellas." But as he was leaving, I caught him, and I said, "Excuse me," I said, "I couldn't help but overhear the conversation." I said, "I'm into motorbikes, I do up cabinets, I do this. I said, "I've got quite a collection of my own, but could I take you up on your offer?" And he said, "Well, yes, of course you can, young man," because I was a bit younger than him. So anyway, lo and behold, I said, "Well, where do you live? I take it all these tools are at your house." He said, "Yeah, that's right." He says, "I live down on the coast, right on the front, on the Broadway, overlooking the actual lighthouse, right on the front of the Broadway." And I said, "Well, how did you get here then?" He said, "Well, I came down on the metro. I can't drive anymore. I've lost my license." I said, "Well, look, I tell you what." I said, "See that little van over there? That's my van. Why don't we jump in the van? I'll give you a free lift home instead of going on the metro, and we'll sort things out. And he went, you're the man for me. Anyway, we ended up down in Whitley Bay at this most beautiful house, huge, great big mansion-y kind of house, probably worth, I don't know, thick end of £1 million, I guess, big detached, beautiful house. And I'm like, right, oh. He said, come on in, Graham, come on. He said, stick your van on the drive, come on in. And we went into this massive big double garage, which was full of tools. It was like tool shop. And he said, right, he says, have you got a jet washer? I said, well, yeah, I've got one of them little Karcher things. He says, they're not very good. He says, yeah. And he had one of these great big RAC pressure washers, top of the range. He said, here, hoy that in the back of your van. And we went through his garage and we filled the back of my van. I've got Ian, I've got pipe benders, I've got saws, I've got stills, you name it. I filled this van full of gear. And I'm thinking, I was expecting to go around and get like a little toolbox with a couple of spanners, you know what I mean? No. I swear to God, I must have come back from this fella's house with about 1,000 quid's worth of gear. And he said, I can only say it's going to the right place. You fill your boots, son. So this was near Christmas the year before last. And I duly went back. I put with a lovely bottle of champagne and some flowers for his good lady. And then, I don't know if he's still there. I don't know. He wasn't in great health, the poor fella. But what a lovely, lovely gesture. So I have lots and lots and lots of tools that I was given for nothing.
So hang on.
So where did you put them all?
Hang on, wait. So I got all excited, thinking him up there had a pipe bender, because I've always dreamed about bending pipes. And all this time, you've got a pipe bender, and you never told me. Is that what you told me?
I've got pipe benders. I've got soldering.
You're telling me we've known each other for a number of years, and you told me you didn't tell me nothing about the pipe bender. I mean, I've had me doubts. So maybe oh, here we go. Look.
Ryobi sanders, socket sets, drill sets.
I'm interested in the pipe bending. So all I'm interested in pipe bending. Have you got a proper I-arm bending metal into different shape type material type thing?
I'm pretty sure I have, because I've got massive boxes of stuff in my garage that I've never even looked into yet that I got off this lovely fella.
Would we need Ian, who's a bit more intelligent? I'm not suggesting you're not intelligent. No, I don't want to put that on a boy for. But he can bend pipes without joints. That's all I'm saying, because he said it live on the show. So we've got no reason to doubt him. It's just me and Doc on shooting blanks. We don't know whether you guys are shooting blanks or not, but that's beside by the by. But my point is this. we were talking about making a frame to put a tarpaulin over a trailer, and a circular pipe bent and soldered in the right way would be the ideal solution for that particular equation, would it not?
Not soldering. It needs to be welded, surely. It's got to be stronger than solder.
Well, okay. But I mean, I can do a bit of welding.
You haven't got the welding gear, though.
Have you?
Well, my neighbour said you can have this welding gear for now because he didn't know how to use it. You've just got to make sure you don't get a bit of archive. You know that archive. The archive. You need the proper thing match guns. You don't get the archive. That's what you don't want. And
no, great. So amongst all this kit that you've got, have you got a welder as well then?
Not a welder, no. I've got a lot of soldering equipment, and some. I mean, this guy was obviously quite meticulous in maintaining all this stuff. I mean, even all the drill sets that I got, pretty much had all the drills, and they were all super clean, everything. I mean, the guy, as he turned out, and we had a nice conversation, the guy used to be a turbine engineer, but it was predominantly aircraft turbine engines. So we did have a lovely conversation in the time that we spent together. And because he was a bit of a specialist some years ago, when he was at the height of his career, he worked on a lot of major projects for like BEAC and stuff like this on aircraft turbines and travelled all over the world, worked on Viscount aircraft and all kinds of stuff. We're a very interesting fellow.
Anyway, so I've got a question then. So, except I forgot what the question was. It was a
Pipe bending.
no. I can get access to a MiG, as in I'm not talking about one of them planes, as I'm talking about welders, MiG welding, because the bloke next door's got one. He goes, because I asked him to weld a barbecue for me because it fell apart, and he said, "Oh, can I weld? But I've got a welder." I said, "Well," he's, "Well, do you want it?" And I didn't take him up on it, but I can get a welder, MiG welder, arc welder.
Get the welder then, Eric. Welders are always useful.
Oh, especially when you go. I just love the sparks. It's the sparks that do it for me. I do love a good spark, a good spark and a good arc. You don't get the arc eye, but you want a good arc. But I reckon with Graham's pipe bending, your pipe bending skills, and my ability to get an arc. We've got all the. I mean, apart from being thousands of miles away from each other, which is kind of a bit of a downer on it, I think we've got all the ingredients of building some fantastic things.
Start working on an Eric Gormley instead of having the Angel of the North. You could have the Geordie of the North or something, and some like sitting next to it or something.
I'm thinking, what about a huge art installation of the 4P9 and the flat caps?
What, stick it just off
Eric.
the coast? Just off the coast in Middlesbrough.
I'm sorry, Doug, but I think 3 works better. But because, you and I have got the goods, and these two want to be involved, I think 4P9 just doesn't. It's not quite the same. I think 3 would be better.
Yeah,
Unless
probably
I think a bit short.
If we're going to go down that road, we ought to.
You can have 3 large P9, just a little one, just offset somewhere.
That'll do me.
And obviously I want to be in the middle. I want to be the grand. The grand.
You're not going to put a live fountain in the middle of any of these installations, are you?
I was going to say that. I think we ought to plumb it in so that at night time we get a fluorescent, luminous, milky fluid
Who we're going to
flying out of it.
Bend pipes? I mean, do we know any pipe benders? Oh, we do. We do.
Ian, you being the intelligent one here, see if you can.
I object to that.
See if you know this one. In Prague, there's a very famous statue, which is a little boy having a little tiddle, and it's one of the more famous.
Right.
That's not Prague.
Was that not
That's
Prague?
Copenhagen, I think, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's
Brussels.
I think it's Copenhagen.
It's not Brussels. It is most
No,
definitely
Little Mermaid
Brussels.
in Copenhagen.
What Graham's talking about is the 2 statues that actually urinate on each other, that rotate. That's in Prague. They're made of lats of metal and they keep changing shape. But the little boy with his winky out is Brussels.
So, Eric, am I thinking correctly?
No. It's Copenhagen.
We see that
Brussels. Doc, tell him.
The Little Mermaid in Copenhagen.
There you go.
The little lad with his
Like Doc
winky out
says.
is Brussels. I'm telling you.
It is the pitter, yeah.
So we must have seen that on our motorcycle trip then.
But hang on, just to make that point, you're saying him being the intelligent one, yet he doesn't even know where the little bloke with his winkies out is. And I'm talking about an art installation of the 3-grade Geordie P9 with a little one that represents you because you're only a little fella, right? And you've not been proving yourself, right? In fact, we probably could have 2-grade P9 for me and Doc, and then 2 some more.
I think we need to stop Eric. We need to stop calling them P9 and call them Phalli.
You call them what the hell you like, but I don't want to be underrepresented. I want to be huge and phallic. That's all I'm saying.
There
Or
was
do you feel you're
talk.
going to be underrepresented?
There was talk
Is there
some
something?
years
Is there something
ago.
you're a bit ashamed of?
There's something like we could just call it Bash the Geordie Bishop. Well, I don't know.
All right.
There was some talk some years ago about big wheel, rather like the one in London, being built on the quayside in Newcastle, and it was going to be like a massive Ferris wheel. How it was financed or how it was to be financed, I don't know. It hasn't come to fruition yet, but they were going to call it the YI. That's no joke, because it's in Geordie land. They had proposed to call it the YI. And it was going to be like that thing in London, but it was going to be on the quayside, on the new fancy thing on the quayside in Newcastle. But it hasn't come to fruition, whether that's COVID or whatever, I don't know. But
There was get in there quick. What with
Well, I did think
pipe bending skills, you and your tools, me and my welder, and the
YI.
idea of it could be like a spoke of peni, you know, with fountains and all sorts of stuff, just by saying again. The forward Geordies, because I think Doc, you've been included in this now. Like, I think we could end up, because earlier, I don't know if you saw it earlier in the show, Ian was talking about actually the gene pool and the thickness of people, human beings, and what we need is to reinvigorate the younger population with good classic Geordie intelligent sperm, so we can carry on. You know, I mean, give Graham his due. He's entrepreneurial. You know, oblivious to some things around him occasionally. That's to be by the by, but he's entrepreneurial. Right? Ian always get classed as the intelligent one. And I think my talents are just underrepresented.
Underrated.
But I think we need a plumber on. We need a plumber on board. For this operation to work, we need a plumber or ex-plumber in order to really get the flow going.
The future of
Yeah,
mankind.
Well, if you haven't got
The
good
future
flow,
of
you've got
mankind involves
that's
pipe
what plumbers are
bending.
good at. You can bend. You can do some pipe bending. He can do some plumbing, and Graham will get out there doing the promotion.
I'll flog it.
And I'll bend it.